Yo, it's the deal. It's your player upon the Bobby WAJ, and we are officially live in this thing. This is a continuation from yesterday's topics, man. And discussions and the content that I did yesterday, being that this is an ongoing situation and issue, I kind of wanted to continue it because I have been getting a lot of feedback, positive and negative, about the African American people collectively as a people, as a community, or unwillingness to just jump into these protests head first. I have never been one to hold punches, to dance around the topic of inner minority racism and how majority of Hispanics in Southern California view blacks, how they interact with us, how they treat us with disdain, resentment, hatred. I don't dance around it. I call a ball, a strike, and I'm going to continue to do so. Within this time that I have been blessed to be an up and coming vlogger, YouTuber, what have you, I have generated a lot of hatred from the Hispanic community because my content is what you'll call invidious content, because it's rooted in the truth. It's rooted in holding individuals accountable, whether you're black, Hispanic, Latino, whatever you consider yourself to be. I'm gonna hold you accountable. So what I want to do, man, is continue to explore the topic that pertains to inner minority racism and why we as a people aren't out there on the front line giving assistance to the Latino Hispanic community. In the 1960s, when we were fighting for human rights, civil rights, and just the right to exist here in America, we had no support. The only individuals that stepped up, the only community, the only ethnicity, the only people that stepped up to lend a little bit of assistance was the Jewish community. And even they had ulterior motives to why they were trying to help black folks. But even they was also being persecuted for being Jews and subjugated to the ruling leadership of American-born Caucasians. If you sit back and you dissect history, everybody is looking for us to be subservient. Everybody is looking for us to be led by them and their agendas and what they feel we as a people should be doing. But now it's time for us as a people to determine what we own, what we're going to do, and how do we move forward. In the 1920s, when the white man and the white woman couldn't see eye to eye because she wanted to work, she wanted to go out and she wanted to be the equal to her white husband. What did they do? They target black women. They created division amongst our family by getting our women out of the household to protest, to rally, and push for white women to have the ability to vote. Our women believe in this narrative and that they can be equal to these white women. They left the household and joined these white women in the streets to protest for equal rights for women. When the Communist Party wanted to come over here and go against the Democratic Party here in America, what did they do? They tried to appeal to black folks. LGBTQ, when they feel like they wasn't being heard and they needed assistance, who did they appeal to? Who did they try to get to come and be allies with them? The African American community. We refuse to sit back and continue to allow these other communities to use us, or shall I say misuse us, and discard us as if we are trash. No more. We're not taking that shit. We're not standing by that shit. We're not supporting those who don't support us. We're not blessing those who don't bless us. So what I want to do, man, I want to take a few minutes and I want us to explore the origin of black hatred from the Hispanic community here in Southern California. What's the origin of it? Why do they hate us so much? And they hate us with a passion. What have we done so severe, so evil and wicked to the Hispanic community? Till they create hatred and still these ideologies and these philosophies and indoctrinate their kids to hate us. Generations upon generations upon generations. Let's get to the origin. You know, I don't like to come on here and talk about problems that's not rooted in some type of solution. I don't like to come on here and talk about social issues and illnesses without being able to substantiate my claim of why what I'm saying is legitimate and true. Let's get into the content, cuz. So we're gonna go right here just to kind of like start things off. Play a few videos from these brothers.
History between Black Americans and Mexicans in Los Angeles, I'll extend that to Southern California, is not a good history.
It's not.
Mexicans went on an erasure campaign, erasing Black people out of their communities for years. And I could get deeper in detail. There's history out there. Check this video out.
In other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on? There would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East LA, came to the state from the South, not knowing what East LA was. It was an all-Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were Black. This would not be tolerated if this was white on Black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir. It's the numbers. They come here in the numbers. They build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The Black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society.
History between Black Americans and Mexicans in Los Angeles.
But wait, there's more. That's not it. Hold on. Let me drag this over here. See, this is what the truth of the matter is. The Hispanic community came over here very analytical, very observant. And they saw how subservient we are to white America. White America say, boy, jump. And we say, master, ha ha. White America say, I need you to get those goddamn guns and take your ass on over there to Korea or Vietnam and go fight our war. They ain't got shit to do with you, boy. While at the same time, simultaneously creating laws, prohibitions, and restrictions here in America that didn't allow us to indulge or share that fake ass illusion of an American dream. The Hispanic community sat back and they saw how we interacted with the Caucasians who hated us, who subjugated us, who oppressed us, who fucked us over, for lack of better words. And they said, if this is a sucker waiting to be licked, oh yeah, we gonna get him next. And under those dynamics, right? How could we be upset at them? We can only be upset at ourselves for not standing up and doing what Public Enemy told us to do in the 1980s and fight the motherfucking power. We gave up. We settled for the American dream. We settled for the progression of individual Black people versus the progression of us as a whole. See, the time of the KKK wearing masks and galloping through our communities and burning churches, burning crosses in our yards, and demonizing us, being demons to us, that time is gone. Because now they got this thing on autopilot to where we'll do it to ourselves. And if we're not doing it fast enough, if we're not effective in doing it, then they got the Hispanics that'll do it for them. This older brother just came on here and talked about how they firebomb black people homes, how they unalive people for just being black. Is that not reminiscent of what happened in the 1960s and beyond? Is that not what we were going through in the South with these Caucasians? Are we not still divided? When you go into these California institutions where there's Southern Hispanics, you can't drink from the same water fountain as them. Did that not go down in the South during the Jim Crow? You can't eat with them. You can't sit at the table with them. Is that not reminiscent of what the fuck went down in the 1960s and beyond in the South? See, these Hispanics have got to a point to where they feel empowered, entitled, and they feel like we should be subjugated to their rule and their leadership in the same fashion that we have been for centuries to the Caucasian Americans. And I say to you today, nah, fuck that. It's time for us to be led by our people who are righteous and who are not being paid off, who are not selling their influence and selling their voice to those who oppose us. But what you say, what you think, what you feel, is it not time to get our shit together? See, motherfuckers come into social media space, right? And they talk about peace when it's trending. They talk about peace when it's a fad. Every day of the motherfucking week until we obtain it, we should be talking about peace. Not when it's a hot topic. So when these motherfuckers come on here and they're talking about reconstruction and us progressing as a people when it's a hot topic, and then they neglect it, now they're alienated and removed from it. That shows you that these motherfuckers don't give two fucks about us as a people, and these niggas is solely in this space to benefit. Now these niggas are selling their influence to Caucasians. No. Shh. Don't talk about that, boy. Talk about this. Let's get back into the content, cuz we going somewhere.
Look at this, man. This is why African Americans in California are not going to get themselves involved in this protest against ICE. If those African Americans and Mexican Americans are arrested and go to jail in California, the Mexican Americans' rules are there is no contact with black people. They can't share food with us. They can't talk with us. They can't share cells with us.
You can talk a little bit.
You understand me? Let that sink in. You ask us for our help and our support. But the fact is that if we got incarcerated together, your whole car, your whole nation, incarceration, will not mess with us because of the color of our skin, because we're African Americans. Yeah, no. We're going to pass on this one. And the next one and the one after that too.
Facts.
Look at this, man. This is why African Americans.
You can't compare this riot to any riots that you've seen blacks participate in. Blacks didn't come to America illegally, voluntarily, and then began to demand civil rights. We never did that. So when I see Mexicans trying to compare what we do to them, it's not even comparable. You got a bunch of illegals fighting for the right to be here. What they fail to realize is this: it don't matter that you get up and go to work every day. You came illegally. That is breaking the law. You can't come to a country illegally, but then expect to have the same civil rights as the American citizens. That doesn't make any sense. I can't go to Mexico illegally, then demand civil rights. I can't go to Africa. I can't go to Europe. I can't go to any other country.
But this is the thing, right? Our grandparents, aunties, uncles, older cousins or whatnot, being empathetic, being understanding, and knowing how it feels to be subjugated to racial practices here in America. We empathize with the tan people, the Hispanic people that was coming over here. So we voted to give them rights that we fought, bled, and died for. Medical insurance, the ability to get government assistance. These is all the things that we voted for them to be able to come over here without the proper documentation and to benefit from. There's an old saying that says, this thorn in my side is from a bush or a plant that I created. Our replacements, we gave them everything that they needed to do that effectively, to replace us. Those who came before us did a major disservice to us. When you go back to the 1700s, when the Polish came over here, when they began to come, the Italian began to come, the Jewish folks began to come. The American-born, raised white folks understood what these migrants, what these immigrants represented: a reduction in resources for us, a reduction in jobs for us. So what did they do? They created division. The same thing the Mexicans did to us. When they came over here and they seen that we were the individuals that they was in competition with for jobs and resources, instantaneously, once they got their foot in the door, the first thing that they did is separated themselves from us and began to take the resources, the job opportunities, and so on and so forth from us. And once they got into these industries, what did they do? A lot of them found strategic and manipulative ways to use trickery to get your black ass the fuck up out of there. This is the truth, especially in warehousing. In warehousing, they try to find ways to get you to make mistakes so they can get you out of there and get their cousin put into that same position. This shit is real. And we've been sleeping for too motherfucking long. And right now is the time for us to wake our black asses up or be comfortable with whatever misfortune, whatever hardships, whatever challenges come our way. Now is the time for us to wake up. Let's get back into the content.
Illegally, then demand civil rights, but then cry racism when they want to deport my ass. Tearing up Los Angeles ain't gonna make it no better for you guys. Then you come over here with a sense of entitlement like America owes you something. It's crazy when they try to compare what they do to what blacks have done in this country. No, when blacks was marching and protesting, it was about civil rights. It was about police brutality and how whites get away with unaliving black people in this country. Mexicans are fighting for the right to break the law. This is the dumbest protest in American history. And then what makes things worse is they're waving Mexican flags while protesting in America. You are waving Mexican flags while protesting in America. How you gonna wave foreign flags in America but demand citizenship here, demand civil rights here? If that ain't the dumbest shit I've ever heard, I don't know what is. I'm gonna wave this Mexican flag in your face on American soil, but at the same time, I want civil rights here in America. I want civil rights in America while waving a Mexican flag in the air. If that ain't stupid, I don't know what is, man. The fact that they try to compare this bullshit to what we did shows that they're uneducated, shows that they lack common sense, shows that they lack intelligence. You didn't see black people waving foreign flags around while protesting in America. We didn't do that. I don't give a damn what riots you go to. You didn't see blacks walking around waving foreign flags while demanding better treatment in America. We never did no stupid shit like that.
Facts. That's Brother Red Supreme, man. You know, spit nothing but hardcore facts. What I want to do now, and I want to take the liberty to dive into what is the origin of this interminority racism. Because if you ask an Hispanic person, they say, oh, blacks did this and blacks did that. Choose a motherfucking lie. Blacks are not guilty of doing anything but being so benevolent to the point that it made us ignorant. Blacks are not guilty of anything but being so welcoming to the point to where we ain't see the knife in your hand that stabbed us in the back. That's what we are guilty of. Putting other individuals before our very selves, welcoming people who came in with ulterior motives, who came in with the sole purpose of replacing your black ass. We see how they infiltrated our communities, right? We see every time they are in disagreement with something that the United States government is doing or saying or preparing to impose upon them, they get these Mexican flags and they wave them. Their loyalty is to Mexico, not the United States of America. If their loyalty is to Mexico and not the United States of America, and they're here on this land creating destruction, so on and so forth, that's infiltration. That's a threat to the safety and the security of this nation. That's a threat to your black ass. But you know it's been a threat. How you know it's been a threat? Because they've been unaliving us with no compassion, with no remorse, with no second thoughts. So I want to get into what's the origin of the racism that we experience from the Hispanic community. Because if the Mexicans is racist towards us, then what you think the Hondurans are? The Nicaraguans, the Guatemalans, just all the Central Americans who allow the Mexicans to be the voice of that region. I don't want to say Central America because Mexico is not Central America, it's Northern America, but the voice of the Latino community. Let's get into it, cuz.
Came in, and now it's predominantly Hispanic. And these folks hate Black Americans. Even in Mexico, if you adopt,
I'm gonna slow it down. I sped it up so that it doesn't get my situation flagged. But I'm gonna reduce the value so you can understand what this brother is coming from and what he's talking about.
Mexico, if you're dark skin, then you're hated, you're looked down on, even in Mexico. So they'll bring you that same attitude here in this country. And even in Mexico. So they'll bring you that same attitude here in this country. And in Mexico,
I have been running content on how in Mexico, it's a whole population of Afro-Latino, Afro-Mexicanos, right? In the southern part of Mexico, Oaxaca, Guerrero, Veracruz. These people are not even considered to be Mexican nationals because they're Black. There's still racial practices against melanated, carbonated individuals in the actual country of Mexico. If you Black, they don't fuck with you. Don't expect to have anything coming. The rights that we were voting to give the immigrants who came over here in the 1980s and the 1990s, they don't even give it to the black Afro-Mexicanos. They don't even give it to the Afro-Mexicanos. And here we are, African Americans, being compassionate and understanding to these individuals who are coming over here legally. And we say, yeah, we know they came here legally, but you should at least give them medical care. You should at least give them food stamps. You should at least give them the opportunity to send their kids to the schools that our kids is at and give them a free education. But those who look like you in the southern part of Mexico, they don't get a motherfucking thing because they're Black. And if your Black ass was down there in Mexico, you wouldn't get a motherfucking thing because you're Black. We got to stop being so benevolent to the point to where we fucking ignorant. And we stuck on stupid. If you can't catch on, then baby, catch up. That's all I'm saying, cuz. If you Black and you in Mexico, homie, they hate you. The darker the complexion of your skin, the realer the hate is for you. So this is a cultural thing. This ain't just something that's going on here in America. This stems all the way back to Mexico. When the conquistadors and Cortez then went over there and divided us from them and promised them trinkets and promised to allow them to join their ranks and enjoy the luxuries of being part of the what the conquistadors was preaching to them. Gaspar Yenga that fought side by side with these individuals that allowed them and helped them to liberate certain towns and cities out there when the Europeans came over here and said, we're seizing control of all this shit. It was the blacks like us that stood up and said, no, fuck that. You ain't coming over here taking a motherfucking thing. And for all you bad motherfuckers that think you're coming over here to take some, they're going to be shipping your ass back to where you came from over the ocean in these motherfucking boats. And that's just what it is. It was blacks that stood up and protest and rode and died for their cause. And they betrayed us for favoritism from the white folks. This ain't some shit that's just going on now. This is some shit that's been going on for centuries. They hate the black DNA that's inside of their very bodies. And we ain't catching on. Come on, cuz, if you can't catch on, catch up. If you can't catch up, then catch on, baby. Let's get back into the content.
If you're dark skin, then you're hated, you're looked down on, even in Mexico. So they'll bring you that same attitude here in this country. And in May of this year, and I'm sure most of you haven't heard anything about this, there was a firebomb, and they're trying to run black people. These Hispanics are trying to run the few black people that are left there. They're trying to run them out of Boyle Heights housing project there. Here is the first firebomb attack.
Other news now, strong feelings tonight after a town hall meeting at the Ramona Gardens housing project in Boyle Heights. The meeting was called after a firebomb attack on 4 homes in that area, and now there are growing fears it could rekindle racial tension. Ramona Gardens is a public housing development located just north of the 10 freeway in the community of Boyle Heights. It's been plagued by gang and drug activity.
The community meeting was called by police and fire officials after some neighbors expressed concerns that African Americans live in 3 of the 4 units that were attacked with Molotov cocktails in this largely Latino community.
We are trying to determine motive. We are trying to determine whether it is gang related or if there is some type of...
They are trying to determine motive and to determine if it is gang related. Single mothers with black kids renting an apartment in a government housing projects. No black males coming in and out. No traffic that can imply or indicate some type of illegal doings or firebombs. How could you potentially mistake it for being gang activity? See, the thing about the liberal media and the Los Angeles Police Department, as well as the Los Angeles County Sheriffs, they never call a ball, a strike unless it's us on us. When it's racial tension, when there's racially motivated attacks against us, they never call a ball, a strike. They sweep the shit up under the rug. But let me be in a low vibration state and resort back to some gangster shit and go bust a head or 2. If I do it on my people, it's gang related. If I do it on their people, then it's race related. But when they do it to us, they got to speculate. They got to take their heads up out of their stinking asses and try to figure out what the fuck the obvious is. This is a system, cuz. This is systemic racism. When we up against this type of giant, when we up against this type of system, cuz, how do we continuously victimize, target, and hate one another? Man, this shit got to stop. If all these other content creators ain't going to come on here, cuz, and push for peace, I'm going to use my platform to push for peace and the resurrection of our communities and the unification of our people. Fuck these other niggas, cuz. Because if they ever get a position of power or influence, guess what they going to do? They going to turn their backs on you. We done had enough of that shit, cuz. The likes of Maxine Waters. Oh, nigga, don't talk about Maxine. Maxine is this. Maxine is a motherfucking another plant planted in our community to perpetuate the cycle of ignorance, destruction, underachieving by the motherfucking Democrats. Let's call a ball, a strike, homie. Man, there's so much shit associated with Maxine Waters' name that hasn't met the internet. Because we have been taught to don't say nothing. Look the other way. Has she ever got brothers out of detention? Yeah, she has. But you have to give something in order to get something from the people that you're saying that you represent. She ain't do it because she's just this righteous, right on ass sister. She know the politics. She know the game. She know what strategies to utilize to get us to put our guards down and sing her praises like a lot of you coon ass motherfuckers do. Let's get back into the content.
Of hate crime issue involved.
But some of those who attended the meeting, like Lynette McDaniel, who has lived in Ramona Gardens for only 90 days, says she's had enough and isn't waiting around to get the answers, but is moving out ASAP.
I don't want to be around this. I don't want to have my daughter around this at all. So it's better for her. I'll be all right. But this, I don't know what to say about it. And I don't want to continue to deal with it. So, I'm going to move on.
Pause. I know her. On Eastside PJ Watch Crip, I know Miss Lynette McDaniels. Used to fuck with the homie Sebo. Stay right there on the little bull side. Same row as Ida and all them, right? And I remember having a conversation with her because she left the hood because the hood was violent, but it was us on us. None of the homegirls ever ran in her spot. Nobody never did anything to harm her or her daughter. So we be so obsessed with running away from our people to where we run into these death traps. And I had a conversation with this sister. And this sister said, man, she has never dealt with the amount of racism that she had dealt with when she made the mistake and transferred her project unit down there to Boyle Heights. They called her the N-word excessively. They disrespected her. They disrespected her daughters. They disrespected her neighbors. And then they went back to firebombing their households. If I know this, and they know this, how the fuck the LAPD don't know this? Fuck all the filibustering. Fuck all the games being played, homie. Right now, it's time for us to see who our real opposition is. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's the Mexicans because the Norteños, they fuck with us. It's an abundance of love. There are Mexican Americans who fuck with us. It's an abundance of love, but 70% of them don't fuck with us. And that just is what it is. I don't give a fuck who don't fuck with us. Long as 100% of us fuck with us, then whoever opposes, homie, we can stand up against those odds. It ain't nothing too major. But let's get back into the content.
And the police try to determine if it's hatred or racism or whatever. If it was you can answer this question for yourself, folks. If it was white gangs bombing the homes of black people in that area, what would it be? Racism. Al Sharpton, Jackson, NAACP, Maxine Waters, and everybody, their mama, the black college students, everybody, their mama would be protesting downtown LA area right now. But this happened back in May of this year. You've not even heard about it. There were 4 units in one complex area there, and these Hispanics went in, and there were three of the 4 units were lived in by black people. They firebombed 3 of the units, but the one unit with the Hispanic family they did not touch. And you think that's not racism? Here's the
and this is the fucked up thing, right? And I'm guilty of this. And I just shared stories about it. It's a Hispanic lady in Imperial Courts housing projects that the homies call Mama. Every time she pull up, if it's a car in her stall, the homies move it. If she got groceries, bags, and so on and so forth, the homies get those groceries and those bags out of her car and walk them into her house. We don't get that same level of care. We don't get that same level of respect and honor. They firebomb our homes. They make us feel uncomfortable in their communities. And we sit back and we be coon ass niggas and we open with open arms and we welcome them into our communities. At some point in time, we got to understand, cuz we got to start giving motherfuckers what they give us. That's why they think we weak. Because they can do anything to us and we still accept them. We still respect them. We still venerate them. Man, that's the characteristics of a bitch, a mark, a sucker, a pussy. And I am not the likes of that. And I know a lot of y'all out there listening to me right now, that ain't who you is. And I understand that fighting fire with fire burned down the whole forest, but there's changes, there's alterations that's required in order for us to progress. And one of those is treat motherfuckers the way that they treat us. Let's get back into the content.
controversial over whether it's race related or not.
The rumor mill in this community is filled with speculation that the attack may have been racially motivated or gang-related. And the police asked us not to bring cameras into the community meeting because they said some residents would not speak out if news cameras were present for fear of retaliation. This man who attended the meeting with his young daughter confirmed there is a climate of fear for some who live here.
Some people, if somebody saw something, people are afraid to speak.
But others who attended said after the meeting there is no racial tension in Ramona Gardens, and this lady warned that people shouldn't jump to conclusions about who carried out the attack before the facts are in.
We don't know who did it. LAPD doesn't know who did it. So why do the news say that?
Fuck up. I hate when they do that shit, cuz on PJ Crip, everybody know who the fuck did it. Bitches, cameras over there. They got these motherfuckers on surveillance walking across the bridge. They got these motherfuckers at the gas station filling up gas containers with motherfucking empty bottles coming across the bitch. They got them on. Come on, cuz, don't play with our intelligence, cuz. Motherfuckers like the gotta have that Zen moment. People like to play on our faces, play on our tops, play with our intelligence. We got to stop this shit. We got to stop this shit, cuz. PJ Crip. And instead of calling a ball, a strike, or just not saying anything, understanding the dynamics that's going on in those communities, it's the projects. Come on, baby. Everybody know everybody business. Everybody know everybody. It's the projects. Me being the individual that comes from the projects, I can tell you, majority of the times when things transpire in the projects, everybody in the projects know what happened to those in the projects. Says individuals like this, homie, that you got to watch. This bitch right here, God forgive me. But we tired, God. We been crying out. We been marching and protesting peacefully for too motherfucking long, cuz. And what is the results? We still stagnant as a people. They always had a token niggas. They picks and chooses. Come on. And we gonna use you to instill jealousy, envy, and false hope in your people. They can never assail. They can never ascend to the heights that we about to take you. But you gonna give them false hope. Live your life. Have fun, but never go back into your communities and liberate your people. Let's get into the content, cuz.
Hispanics and African Americans are at war when we're not. We're all friends here. I have African American friends. We're not at war.
So I would like to know from this woman.
All that fake ass, I got black friends. That line, that speech, bitch, shut the fuck up.
There were 4 units, 3 black families living in 3 units, one Hispanic family living in the 4th unit. Why was it that only the black homes firebombed? If there's not a race war going on there. And Maxine Waters and NAACP and others are in this area, folks. Not that they live there, but they're supposed to be, quote unquote, representing those black people. Have you heard one word? And this is really to my black audience as well, listeners here. I want you to see that your black so-called leadership does not care about you at all. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They only want power and wealth for themselves. They're only using you, and they only come out when it's white on black, when it's white on black. There's money and power when it's white on black. There's nothing when it's Hispanic on black. KTLA 5 says that a $100,000 reward is offered in Boyle Heights fireball.
I'm gonna stop it right there. We're gonna change gears a little bit. We know that the origin stems from the ideologies and the philosophies and the indoctrination that the Caucasians gave to the Mexican people. There was a time, homie, to where Mexicans look like me and look like you. Word is bond. But when the conquistadors and Cortez and all them came over here from Spain, Portugal, so on and so forth, but mainly from Spain, the first thing that they taught those who were subservient and just wanted to be peaceful, we don't want problems. What you want from us? Cut off those black people. Don't associate with them. Don't interbreed with them. Don't marry them. And when you see them, you bring your ass here and you tell us where they at, and we're gonna go do our thing and we're gonna reward you. Can you do that? Yeah, we can do that. The second order of business, you must learn my native tongue. All this Naruto shit, That shit is out the window. You're going to speak Spanish. Can you do that? Sí, señor. Are you willing to help us capture the blacks? Yeah. This shit go back centuries, cuz. This ain't no shit that just manifested today. This shit been going on. But let's get a better understanding of why it's so prevalent here in Southern California. What made it permeate throughout all the cities and counties of Southern California? Let's get to the origin, cuz. You know, that's what we do right here, cuz. We talk about solutions and we get to the nitty-gritty of shit. So those who are in denial, oh, no, blacks and Hispanics, Charlie's fool, we get along, dog. We're cool. No, the fuck we're not. And we're going to get to the origin of how things turn. Because in communities like Watts, Compton, South Central, certain parts of Linwood, certain parts of Southgate, we had harmonious relationships with these individuals. You know why the relationships were harmonious? Forgive me, I should have did this in the beginning. The relationships were harmonious because they needed to get us to put our guards down so that they can execute their agenda. Once they got a foothold in these communities and they got their numbers up, you've seen a drastic change. These are the individuals that we had amazing relationships with. By evidence of, in Watts, you got Watts Barrio Gray Street. That was a gang whose members was comprised of blacks and Hispanics. Nut Hood Watts Crip. Southside Nut Hood Watts 13. Hacienda Village Bloods, Hacienda Village Boys, Su 13. Southside Tinline, Eastside Tinline Gates the Crip. We had relationships with these individuals that we thought were harmonious and cool, but all the time they was plotting, they were planning, they were strategizing and getting us to put our guards down, to reveal what their ulterior motives really was. But let's get to the origin of it. Here we go, right here.
Is racial tension partly induced by the Mexican mafia, has also filtered into Southern California.
Whoa, what'd he say?
Inside prison walls. We believe is racial tension partly induced by the Mexican mafia, has also filtered into Southern California high schools, and clearly it starts.
So these racial procedures, protocols, and practices that was induced by the guys that he just named begin to go into the high schools, the junior high schools, to where they were giving orders to hurt our babies. And our babies is at a disadvantage because through this cripping and blood and shit that we've been doing since 1971, 1969, all we ever taught our babies was to watch each other. All we ever programmed our babies to believe is that we are each other's enemy. Protect yourself. Hurt one another. We never taught them to hate the Hispanic individuals who are in our community. But like I say, with them, this level of racism go back centuries, so they already indoctrinated. All they waiting on is the word. So in the late 80s, in the early 1990s, they got the word. And they had no problem switching up and getting off and fighting our kids in these junior high schools and these high schools. Our kids was oblivious to what the fuck was going on because they never dealt with this type of enemy. All we programmed them to believe is that we are each other's enemy. They ain't know how to react and respond to that shit. A lot of them ran because their mind couldn't process this new threat. See, when it's black on black, a lot of us, we go straight into it. But when it's a foreign enemy, utilizing foreign tactics. We don't know how to respond. We don't know how to think on the fly. We don't know how to readjust. I don't want to equivocate too far, or not necessarily equivocate. I don't want to digress too far. Let's get into the origin of inter-minority racism in the streets of Southern California, where it came from.
Inside prison walls. Here in maximum security at Chino Penitentiary, notorious prison gang members are housed separately. The Mexican Mafia, also called La M, in one area, the Black Guerrilla Family prison gang in another. Here there is constant racial tension. Tension that often erupts here in the LA County jail system. Latino inmates tell Fox News the word to fight often comes down from the Mexican Mafia, a group authorities say controls most of the drug traffic behind bars.
They want to make it a racial thing, you know what I mean? It's like the M is a raza, you know? We control all inside jail, you know? That's what the M is all about. That's what they came out to say, you know? We have riots with the blacks.
Jail officials say these tensions have heightened since the LA riots, and the Mexican Mafia using the race issue to show its muscle in the...
Pause. I want to commentate. I want to elaborate further upon what he just said. That the racial tension heightened after the 1992 riots. Do you know what else was going on simultaneously around that time with the riots? The unification of blacks, the peace treaty, Crips and Bloods and Power Rules, Grooves, and everything in between coming together, trying to creatively find ways to resolve conflict amongst rival factions. That's what was going on. The Hispanic population feel threatened. The Los Angeles Police Department and other law enforcement within that region feel threatened. So they created propaganda to utilize the Hispanics to oppose the blacks, saying that we were coming together to go against Mexicans and go against the police. That ain't why we did that. We were tired of unaliving one another. We were tired of police brutality. We were tired of discrimination. We were tired of unethical business practices being carried out against us. We were tired of unfair and unequal housing. And then in 1991, they killed my big homie Tiny Loc, aka Henry Pico. And that's what drove imperial courts to say, you know what? Let's go to this motherfucking police station. PJs went to the police station to protest and potentially get into some gangster shit with the police. And they tuck their tail like some pussies and some fucking cowards that they are when black men stand the fuck up and we're unified. They don't know how to adjust to that. They don't even know how to fucking perceive that. Them motherfuckers stayed in that police station behind the motherfucking bricks where they were protected at until they was able to get additional units from other stations to come and protect their bitch ass. See, this that real revolutionary shit right here, cuz. This that shit that they don't tell y'all about. And shortly thereafter, the homies participated in peace talks, ceasefire talks with representatives from the Jordan Down housing projects and the Nicholson Gordon housing projects, the Gray Streets and the Bonnie Hunters. And by the grace of God, they was able to bring it together. And then it spread throughout Los Angeles County to our brothers in Compton, South Central, Linwood, Southgate, Paramount, Carson came and said, you know what, cuz? We want to be a part of this shit, cuz. We want to see how far this shit can go, blood. And niggas even began to tie the blue and red rag together in solidarity, homie, against any and everybody that opposed us. That peace treaty shook up a lot of individuals. Certain organizations working in tandem and in conjunction with law enforcement began to strategize and plot evil and wicked things for African American women, men, and children. Let's get back into the content. This is the origin, baby.
The prison system has even ordered a hit on Crip gangster Damian Football Williams.
We're going to bypass
officials
all
say
that.
La M believes Williams disrespected warrants in Normandy. A series of jail...
I want to say this. Damian Football Williams from out of A-Trade Gangster Crip. He didn't say anything derogatory towards the individuals that they are mentioning. He never disrespected Mexicans. Those individuals who kicked off the 1992 riots, they were solely going after Caucasians and not Hispanics. I have video footage to where the Hispanics not coming to participate in the protest and the demonstration, but coming to participate in the aftermath in loot, going into a store and somebody say, "Cuz, what's up with the Mexicans?" And a black brother respond, "Don't fuck with the Mexicans, cuz. They out here trying to live just like we is, cuz." And the Mexicans was allowed to go and loot and do what it is that they was doing. The blacks protested and did what they did, burnt shit down for about 2 or 3 days. All those other days was the Hispanics. But they placed the blame on us. Every time we initiate something, every time we die and we sacrifice for something, everybody else benefit. But they don't share in a cause. Let's get back into the content, cuz. This is the origin.
House letters sent between a mafia member and Latino gangster and obtained by Fox News discuss plans to out FB, a reference to football. I'll do it when I can do a good job.
Why not Damian Williams? He's getting all this attention. You know, he's dissing us. Why not?
And this ex-gang member who has spent several years trying to get kids out of gang life says the Mexican mafia for months now has been fanning the flames of racial tension on the streets. At a series of meetings like this one, spreading through 4 LA area counties, La MA operatives have ordered a Latino gang truce, but have also encouraged attacks on black gangs.
You said we're going to create a racial war.
This same source, who wants his identity concealed out of fear the MA would kill him for talking, says the mafia master plan is to control drug profits on the street as well as in jail.
Bottom line, how much money they can make, what they can control.
At the same time, Latino and black gangs have been facing off in a growing pattern of racial unrest at area high schools, other non-gang members often joining in. That was the case today as the latest such disturbance broke out at Paramount High School. And law enforcement intelligence obtained by Fox News talks about the MA influence at these recent gang meetings possibly being linked to racially motivated gang clashes at schools in Compton, Inglewood, Culver City, Santa Monica, Venice, Pomona, Ontario, and the Inland Empire. Compton School Police Chief Michael Nunez agrees the mafia theory has a lot of credence.
As far as the animosity, a lot of it between the gangs, the blacks traditionally have been into the gangs as far as selling narcotics. But apparently now it appears that a lot of the Hispanics are getting into that area also, and it's causing a lot of consternation among some of the black gang members. And there's retaliation. There's been some shootings between the blacks and Hispanics.
At the very least, says another Compton police source, Mexican mafia directives at these gang meetings fan the flames of racial violence. Compton School Superintendent Harold Sebrin, who acknowledges there have been 7 high school racial incidents since October, says the school is aware of the problem.
I guess my plea to parents.
Why the kids, cuz? Why involve innocent kids in your nefarious, or nefarious, however you choose to pronunciate it? Why involve the babies? Why target the babies in your wicked plans? Because just like the Caucasian individuals that came into your neighborhood, took out the most noticeable, the most respected from his home, and took him to the nearest tree and strung his ass up. It's no compassion. It's no love. It's no mercy. It's no conscience when it comes to inflicting violence, pain, and destruction upon us. The babies? Why target the babies? The babies ain't hanging on the blocks, slinging rocks, packing Glocks. But y'all target the babies? Am I painting a vivid picture for y'all, cuz? Is y'all not seeing the origin of this shit here? And they want us to stand with us. They want us to stand with them there? Fuck no. Because those policies, those procedures, and that level of protocol still exists today. We ain't fucking with nobody but ourselves, cuz. And that's what we gotta push. We don't want to rock with nobody, cuz. We need to rock with each other. Our house divided can't stand. And they know we divided. And that's why everybody want to come against us. The Tongan population, they used to fuck with us. They used to rock with us. Now they don't even want to associate with us. They saying, we don't got no black blood in us. When it was some old niggas, the Samoans and the Tongans that was rocking with us. Now the Tongans say, no, we cool. Because we so disunified. We so motherfucking gullible. When we're faced with the real enemy and real threats, what we do, a lot of us cower and run in fear. No, fuck that. Let's get into the content. This is the aftermath of that right there. What they were just talking about, this is the aftermath.
Houses and duplexes. A wave of Mexican immigrants arrived in the 1970s. Residents themselves didn't always know what city they belonged to. Neighborhood was in Los Angeles, but had a Torrance mailing address. In competition for city services, Harbor Gateway usually lost. A former resident remembers that street sweepers would only come by once a month. Street lights didn't arrive until the late 1980s. The area had no park or no school nearby. 75 houses gave way to apartment buildings, adding close to 500 units, mostly coming from Mexico. Black Americans also moved in. The neighborhood's black population more than doubled, from 313 in 1990 to 835 in 2000. Many were fleeing from gang war zones of South Central, Inglewood, and Compton in search of affordable housing. Others came from the North Ontarian housing projects that were located 2 miles away from Harbor Gateway.
I told y'all, right? Instead of making corrections in our communities, we elect to flee and go and dwell in these communities with individuals who don't look like us. And a lot of times it's to our disappointment and to our destruction. Let's get back into the content.
And many came with Section 8 vouchers in hand. In 1994, Tony moved to 207th Street from Compton with a Section 8 voucher. Tony said at the housing office, the neighborhood was listed as Torrance, not Harbor Gateway. She said to herself, oh wow, oh wait,
I'm gonna slow it down so y'all can fully understand what this person is saying.
Compton.
What if recording high-quality content, editing like a pro, and streaming like a star was as simple as hitting record?
Over the next 5 years, however, Tony saw numerous shootings. She and other black people didn't dare walk to the Lamo Market, which was the only grocery store in the neighborhood. During this time, the 204 Street gang started attacking black civilians in order to assert their dominance. The 204 Street gang shot at Tony's daughter and her boyfriend as they went to the movies one Friday night. Tensions worsened when a small black gang formed, the 208 Street Crips. By LA standards, the 204 Street gang was small time, with no more than a few dozen youths, but it was large enough to terrorize the neighborhood. A longtime resident once said, "We called pizza and they didn't want to deliver. The mailman was afraid. Everyone was afraid." The 204 Street members began to attend meetings held by representatives of the Mexican Mafia. They reported back that they wanted them to get rid of all black people in the neighborhood. In the Harbor Gateway neighborhood, graffiti and racial shootings skyrocketed. On March 27, 1997, 11-year-old Marquise was outside playing on Harvard Boulevard. A 204 Street member then approached on a bike and opened fire. Marquise was struck by multiple bullets and died at the scene. Later on that same year, the County Human Relations Commission and the neighbors organized to fight the 204 Street gang and the blight. The city added bulletproof streetlight covers. Residents repaired holes in fences, which were used as escape routes for gang members. Girl Scouts picked up trash and painted over graffiti. Police patrol increased and the violence fell, temporarily. But the campaign was short-lived and eventually dissipated, and gang members slowly returned. By 1999, the Latino and black violence resumed. In April of that same year, Michael Richardson was shot to death by a 204 Street gang member that was on a bike in front of Tony's apartment. Tony returned to Compton shortly after that shooting. Charlene moved into a new place because she was leaving gang violence behind in her West LA neighborhood. On May 21st, 2000, at around 4 p.m., Dino Downs was standing outside of his home on the 1600 block of 208 Street. Two Latino youths then drove by and started shooting. Dino was struck multiple times and he died from his injuries. A few months later, on August 25th, 2000, Kent was walking to the bus stop on Harvard Boulevard. He got into a brief altercation with two 204 Street members. The 204 Street members yelled out racial slurs, then opened fire. Kent was struck by 3 bullets and died shortly after. By 2001, the 208 Street Crips, who had never rooted in the area, faded away. With police squad cars against scares, never stopped reporting shootings and chases. Instead, 204 members now patrol the streets, brazenly circling to a center street and Harbor Boulevard on bicycles. Marie moved from South Central with her 3 daughters in 2000, believing she'd come to Torrance. One day, black children playing on the street began screaming, "The 204s are coming!" Marie watched as 204 members drove through shooting. Black youths dove behind walls. Since then, Marie's children have not been allowed to play in front of their apartment. When she has to travel more than half a block, she drives. On October 3rd, 2001, at around 5 p.m., Pasadena High School senior Robert Hightower was visiting his sister's new apartment on the 1500 block of 204 Street. He hugged his sister as he was getting ready to leave when a 204 Street member walked up and let off shots. Robert was struck numerous times, and he died shortly after. According to court testimony, the 204 Street member was upset that a black boxer had beaten a Latino in a prize fight. On October 18, 2003, at around 7 p.m., Eric Butler pulled up to the Del Amo Market to intervene after 204 members began harassing his 14-year-old stepdaughter. As Eric and his stepdaughter were leaving the market, 204 members began to open fire on his vehicle. Eric Butler died from his gunshot wounds, and his stepdaughter was shot in the back and still lived with a bullet lodged near her spine. On August 22nd, 2006, Carl, who was an auto shop owner, was shot in the leg outside of his 207th Street apartment. He lost his leg and his shop and is now bedridden said his wife Danya. On December 5th, 2006, Arturo was shot to death in front of his 205th Street apartment as he was talking with friends. Witnesses say the shooter, who was masked and hooded, yelled out an anti-Mexican epithet. Arturo was a newly arrived immigrant and a cook. His murder has been unsolved. On the afternoon of December 15th, 2006, a group of 8 Black American youths were socializing in a driveway on 206th Street. The group included Anthony, his sister Nicole, Nakarta, It's the Dream, Nicole's boyfriend Donald, Andre, and Cheryl Green. A gray Toyota Corolla then drove by. A young Hispanic male who was driving stopped the car briefly in front of the driveway and made a pointing gesture with his index finger to 2 men who were approaching, as if he was pointing at the group standing in the driveway. It appeared as if he was directing the 2 men who were approaching to do something. As the men approached, Nakarta saw that one of them had a large revolver in his hand, and the second man appeared to be acting as a lookout. The shooter then aimed his gun at the area where the members of the group were standing. Anthony heard the gun click twice while it was being pointed at them. Nakarta ducked behind the car in the driveway and grabbed her little brother. While they took cover, she heard 5 to 7 gunshots. They then saw the gunman move his arm to the right and point the gun at Cheryl. Anthony heard 4 shots as the gun was being pointed in her direction. Anthony took off running towards the back of the house to take cover, and as he, Nicole, and Donald reached the fence at the back of the driveway, he saw the gunman point the gun towards them and heard 3 to 4 more shots. While he was helping Nicole over the fence, he saw that her pinky was hanging off and that Donald had 2 bullet wounds to his upper body. After a few minutes, he returned to the front of the house and found Cheryl on the ground, dying with a bullet wound near her heart. He drove her to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Anthony testified that It's the Dream also had a graze wound on the top of her head. Authorities say the shooter was angry after having a confrontation with a black male outside a nearby store earlier that day. Allegedly, the black male drove by and brandished a gun at him.
If you choose to, you can go to Hood War Stories and watch the rest of that. Shit don't make you feel some type of way, cuz. As black men, black fathers, black individuals in the community, you don't feel no type of way about that, my nigga? That's not incentive enough for us to say, let's put this bullshit to the side and unify? Let's get back into the content. This is the aftermath of that call that they got to launch a war against blacks.
With more and more criminals being sent to prison, overcrowding has become a serious problem. And when that many dangerous people are forced to live together in a closed, confined space, bad things are bound to happen. Fisher's Detention Center, Los Angeles County, California. A racial dispute among rival gangs erupts into a full-blown riot involving more than 2,000.
It's not a racial dispute amongst rival gangs. It is a racial dispute. It's against Hispanic instigators and provocateurs who just so happen to be part of a gang or organization called the Sureños. It ain't me and you beefing, so this is what it is. It's like, no. They got word that blacks weren't cool anymore and to attack them.
1,000 inmates. Any object not nailed down instantly becomes a weapon. The violence is the result of an ongoing power struggle between African American and Hispanic inmates over control of the prison.
Ain't no motherfucking power struggle. Because when you get down to the nitty gritty, the Sureños, the Norteños, the Crips, the Bay, the Bloods, the Kumi, the BGF, the AB, don't none of us control the motherfucking prison. You want to know who control the prison? The motherfucking governor. You want to know who run and controls the prison? The motherfucking warden. Don't none of us control that shit. They always come with these false ass narratives, cuz, to water shit down and dilute it and make it more digestible for those who are not vibrating on a higher frequency. Nigga, fuck that shit. Call a ball, strike a strike, cuz, and that just is what it is.
Prison.
They were limited in their weapons, but in spite of that, there were some severe injuries. Several puncture wounds caused with pencils, socks filled with soap, anything they could find to throw.
As word of the initial conflict spreads, so does the riot. A half hour later, in a different part of the prison, another brawl breaks out. Surveillance cameras capture the action.
As soon as we'd leave the dorm to go to another one, the thing would erupt again.
The violence escalates. The inmates attempt to protect themselves from the flying debris by creating a shield out of bunk beds. Later that evening, 2 other fights break out. Deputies work quickly to bring them under control. The 4-day riot is one of the worst in the prison's history. 110 inmates are injured, 9 of them requiring hospitalization.
And this is what I say to them babies, cuz, to them kids out there. Don't put yourself in a situation to where you have to go into these control facilities and deal with this level of racism. You know why? Because you'll be in that motherfucker fighting for your life. They don't have enough deputies. They don't have enough correctional officers to contain this situation and go and contain another situation. Because a lot of times, homie, when it's racial like that, they already send word out that at 12 o'clock, and if you ain't got a clock in the pod or the module that you at, basically let the bells or the alarms, let that be let that be what gets you cracking. At a certain time, it'll kick off here. Boom, it'll kick off in this pod or this module. Once the other modules hear that beep, 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 and them dispatching units or correctional officers or sheriff deputies to go to that pod or that module, this one kick off, then the next one kick off, then the next one kick off, then the next one kick off, and the next one kick off. And if you ain't got a little stamina and a little skill and know how to fight a little bit, you in a world of trouble. Oh, but did I neglect to mention that being that they are unified people, far more unified than us, what they people do for them is sneak them in, smuggle them in weapons, pieces of metal that they can manufacture into a jailhouse shank. You're outnumbered, you're outgunned, and it could be a dire situation to where you're really in that motherfucker fighting for your life, homie. You may be in that motherfucker, it may be going up 10, 20, 30 minutes. How many of y'all realistically can fight 10, 20, 30 minutes? After about 5 to 7 minutes, a lot of us gas out and you're at the mercy. You're at the mercy of your attackers. A lot of these young brothers don't know how to fight. A dude was telling me about a situation, no disrespect to this. I'm not going to even say the Crip set. But this Crip set at this point in time, this was like, what, 2017, 2018. A dude come into the module, Hispanic guy. He got CK. For those of you who are not from Southern California and don't know the gang culture, CK means Crip killer. And then he has under his eye a very disrespectful tattoo to that specific gang. So one of the representatives of that gang see him, he don't say nothing, but he look. They get into it. He go tell his homies. His homies come and they politicking. They resolved it when a member from that gang took his hand, open palm, and slapped the dog shit out of that youngster. I say, cuz, how many of y'all was it over there? The youngster said it was only 4 of them. I said, cuz, in that situation, all y'all should have filled out a medical pass. And if you could get that nigga booking number, so on and so forth, fill out one for cuz too. Take cuz down to medical and you whoop the dog shit out of him. Or all 4 of y'all should have filled out med passes, went to med, and the first one that y'all seen, y'all whooped the dog shit out of him. This shit is real. This shit is not a motherfucking game. But let's get back into the content. This shit is so real that they're not just racist and biased towards Black, Crips, and Bloods, so on and so forth, but even those who join rank with them still are exposed to racist procedures, protocol, and practices. Let's get into it. This is coming from the mouth of a Black Southsider himself. Take it away, Zod.
Cool, but they're really low-key racist. Now, this particular author was like acting as if he
understood the plight of the Black Southerner and kind of put that narrative out there like nobody liked us. And I'm just going to dispel that. At the end of the day, you will run into individuals that don't have no real love for you. They grew up in areas such as his where they don't have really any Black fools. And when they do, there's always a certain sense of jealousy and a camaraderie and the hate of certain people. Now, I'm just gonna be honest. When it comes to being a Black Southerner, yeah, you're up against it. You're always gonna be up against it, just due to the fact of who you are and who you run with. But as far as like us being victims, that's never happened. Like the only time you really see a Black homie go out like crazy is usually it's the dudes from YA, because they got a train of thought like fuck all my enemies and I'm not listening to nobody. Like they're mostly wild, the YA babies, but that's pretty much any homie. But a lot of Black homies were with that type of issue, and those are usually the ones that end up crashing out when they're dealing with individuals such as him. Now, what dude failed to explain is individuals such as himself that be sending homies like me on missions because they don't really like us in the first place. Like when it comes to the cities, Los Angeles. I'm gonna stop it there. That's a Black Sordenio, a Black guy who has joined the rank and file, or the rank, or just the organization of Sordenios. He's a Black Southsider. And he's letting you know that there's racist protocol, practices, and procedures that they find themselves being victims of. There's more. This coon ass nigga.
Legendary rapper, you feel me? One of the hardest for many, many years. What are we doing outside right now, RJ?
Oh man, that's just protesting. You know what I'm saying? Making sure that we straight. You know what I'm saying? Make sure we stay straight. You know what I'm saying? We all together. So you feel me? We gotta stay together.
How important is Black and brown unity in the city of Los Angeles?
Oh, very important, man. That's all we know. That's all we know. That's all we grew up on. You know what I mean? We went to the same schools. You know what I'm saying? Go to the same hospitals. You know what I mean? We live in the same places. We, you know what I'm saying? We all one for real.
How have you been directly affected by by the maneuvers of ICE and what they've done?
Directly affected, I wouldn't say like no, but you know what I mean, my friends are, you know, so you know what I mean, I'm standing with my friends, you know what I'm saying?
We got RJ in the building, legendary rapper.
Let's get into some real niggas, cuz.
Fucked up is happening to the women and children, but it is what it is. Niggas acting like they didn't know this was coming. And then a gang of them voted for the shit. Be mad at your people for doing that.
Hey, they more mad at us for not going out and helping than they are their own people that voted for it.
No. Hey, I told them to go outside and get cracking. Niggas are arguing with us on the internet, but ain't standing with their own people.
That's a fact. I'm looking at them posting online. They people who voted for it happy they getting deported and stay happy about ICE. I done seen them talking about I'm calling ICE. I had to get my paperwork the legal way. They got to do the same thing. Nobody's saying shit about them.
That's crazy work.
Every time some shit crack, niggas want to, oh, where the niggas at? Where the niggas at? Nigga, we not the motherfucking help of the world, nigga. We is not the help of the world, nigga.
Hey, why niggas ain't calling the Asians and shit?
First, hey, look, ain't nobody saying where the Cambodians at. Ain't nobody saying where the Chinese at. Ain't nobody saying where the Germans at, where the Italians at, where the niggas at. Come on, cuz, what the fuck? You know why? Because they know niggas always stand up against the machine. Niggas always fight. Everybody fight relentlessly, too. That's why they want niggas help.
Fucked up is happening to the women and children, but it is what it is.
Now, just to piggyback off what he said, check this out.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that it was not going to touch the documented people. I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump. We love you. We love you. On the way to the White House. Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign.
Now let me play this video of a house nigga talking that house nigga shit. Some of the shit that he said, a little bit is real.
Black Lives Matter, LA. There's a saying, there's an African saying, if you see a crow eating your neighbor's corn, shoo it away. Because tomorrow it'll be eating your corn. And so I and others have to be here to protect not only immigrants, but to protect innocent people who have done nothing wrong and who have committed no crimes. Our outrage and our frustration is being met with repression and oppression. These people are trained to control and suppress, whether they're the LAPD or the National Guard. And so their presence here only adds to a worsening condition.
Does the energy feel the same as 2020 or different?
No, even more so, because the outrage that people felt from the murder and martyrdom of George Floyd was like, how could that happen? That happened, it looked like someplace else. But now it's right on your own streets. People in your own community and neighborhood.
Man, shut your coon ass up, cuz. Let's see what this is about.
Black and brown people are not united in California.
Fact.
Yeah, we get along, but we're not united.
In certain places.
The brown people and the black people amongst their own communities don't get along with each other. The Norteños hate the Sureños, vice versa. The Bloods, the Crips, the Hoovers, all that. And to add to that, race war after race war, we had 100 blacks killed in 1 week. Most black folk can't even communicate with a percentage of them. So all the celebrities from LA that are saying black and brown people are united, they're lying to you. You may have a brown friend or a black friend, but as a whole, we're not united. Black.
So you bust ass niggas, you suck ass niggas need to stop putting out that false narrative that everything is just hunky dory and they fuck with us, and man, stop that bullshit, cuz. And this is what they use to try to get black people to come out there and support this.
It wouldn't be the USA without Mexicans, and if it's time to team up, let's begin. Black love, brown pride in the set.
Just in case y'all forgot.
When it be LA without Mexicans, black love, brown pride in the sets again.
And yet I don't remember or recall a single Latino or Latina rapper outside of Snow the Product that sat here and said that we wouldn't be nothing without black people.
Facts.
Can we please stop doing this? I agree. What's going on in LA, what's going on with the Hispanic community is foul. What the white man is doing to y'all is sick. And there should be some form of unity that has to happen. I see where you're coming from, right? But this ain't the way to try to draw black people in and try to get help. Sitting here using Tupac and Nipsey Hussle as tokens, that's only going to piss the black community off. Think about it like this. When you see white folks use Malcolm X or Martin Luther King as a means as to why we should start trusting white people all over again. You see how much that annoys us when white people do that, right? You get what I'm saying? Don't be trying to use rappers, black rappers from LA as a means to, well, you see, look, we got to put away the anti-blackness and all the racism. You know, we got to put that to the side. That's not important right now. We should just come to, that's not how that works.
Hell no.
Boundaries need to be put in place. Conversations need to be had before there is any type of unity. And I think that's what your people is not understanding. I don't think the majority of black people in America, black American, black Haitian, black Caribbean, I don't think they're saying we don't want to help at all. What they're saying is they don't want to put their bodies physically on the line. And before we try to do any type of help, conversations need to be had. Conversations need to be had, and you know what I'm talking about.
Wouldn't be the USA without Mexicans, and if
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. So, without further ado, that is my time. I am your host, Bobby Yeye Jones, coming at you once again with some of that real shit. Nah, but on some real shit, man, we need to start having these conversations, homie. Juneteenth is coming up. I don't know if I'm gonna be in Los Angeles for what they just tried to do to your player partner, homie. The police just tried to do some wicked ass shit to get me out get me out the way. And they view my content, they know who the fuck I am. Motherfucker said it to me. So I don't know if I'll be coming back to Los Angeles anytime soon, but I will tell you this. Somehow, some way, on June the 19th for Juneteenth, I will be supporting our people. I will be representing somehow, some way, wherever I am, wherever I'm at, all praise be to the Most High God. I will be representing and putting on for Juneteenth. We need to start talking about when we're going to have a union of the minds to come back together and start talking about how we resolve conflicts amongst ourselves before we even entertain the idea of having peace talks with others. We need to figure this shit out. But I won't hold you no longer, man. I appreciate all y'all for tapping in on your player partner, man. It's greatly appreciated that y'all tap in time after time, man. God bless y'all. I appreciate y'all. Too black, too strong. We all we need, we all we got. And like I always say, man, let's live in peace before we have to rest in peace. And with that being said, I'm going. It's your player partner.